Ciao.
That's sponsored by Remote HQ. Collaborate like you're in the same room. Go to remotehq.co/minutes for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use the code MINUTES for 3 months free. That's Remote HQ.
Skyrocket engine with accelerotor action for peak performance and fuel economy. You'll want to see it, but most of all, you'll want to...
Just flying right through. We're flying right through Peter Cohen. Peter Cohen, former Angry Mac Bastard, a longtime tech writer, a friend of In a Few Minutes, and of Ken Ray. I appreciate you being here. Right.
Also, so weirdly similar in physical appearance.
That's true. Well, I don't know if it's as weird as you think it is. By the way, thanks for that last week. You had me wondering. I actually grew my hair out last year, briefly.
Congratulations on being able to do it.
No, it was terrible. It looked terrible. And I finally saw a picture of myself and I was like, no, that's got to go. I thought...
Was it sort of mangy or like Chernobyl-y at that point? Or
I'll put it this way. When I started shaving my head, I had a receding hairline. I no longer have a receding hairline. You know how you go like you go to the ocean at low tide? Yeah, that's kind of where I was. That's where my hair was anyway.
I tell you though, like looking at some of the images of people who have been in trouble in the news lately, Ken, without going into details, it's making me rethink our entire image, dude. We got to talk to an image consultant, I think.
Yeah. Plus, I'm going to take back my my Flintstones homage Grand Poobah hat. Sorry. Can't wear that anymore. But first, it was my Hawaiian shirts, and now, anyway. Sorry, it's a visual thing.
Can I actually tell you? Can I make a true confession that I really need to get off my chest?
Yeah, go for it.
The Q shaman guy who was at the center of a lot of the photographs that were taken at the Capitol last week.
Yeah,
there's this Jamiroquai meme that popped up on the internet to describe him.
Yeah.
Because superficially, he looks similar to J.K., who's the lead singer of Jamiroquai. I just want to go on the record for all your listeners to let them know that Jamiroquai is a sacred space for some of us. And you can't talk about J.K. and Jamiroquai that way because it's like, it's triggering.
See, here's the thing. I'm actually not familiar at all with Jamiroquai. And I feel like I should actually become more familiar. It's like, that is a name that I have known. But if you had said, before you just said JK is the lead singer of Jamiroquai, honestly wasn't sure if it was a dude or a band. So...
My kids and I all listen to, my kids are all in their 20s, but we all listen to wildly different music. The one place that brings us together is Jamiroquai. Jamiroquai is the secret of world peace. I'm telling you that right now.
I almost wish that we were still doing the album side then so that you could throw some on there, but we're not doing that today. So here's what we are doing today. Apple Car. And the reason we're talking about Apple Car is because all of a sudden everybody is talking about Apple Car. I joked towards the end of last year, which of course was a couple of weeks ago, I was having flashbacks because the week of Christmas 2009 was when all of the rumors started to hit about the Mac tablet netbook thingy, which of course in the middle of January was announced to be iPad. And that dominated, the tech sphere for 3 months to 6 months as far as news of that. And are people going to buy it? Did people buy it? How do you like your iPad? That whole thing. And so the week of Christmas, we started all of a sudden to hear all this talk about Apple Car. I think it was Reuters hit with a story saying that Apple was going to try to roll the car off the line beginning in 2024. Bloomberg last week hit with a story saying it's going to be 5 to 7 years before that happens. I think it was the very next day Hyundai hit with it. Well, not Hyundai. Yeah, Hyundai. Hyundai made a statement to, I believe it was Reuters, or it might have been a Korean news agency, I'm not sure which, saying, yeah, we're in talks with Apple and we're hoping to have a car out by 2024, 2025. And then, oh, never mind, we're in talks with people about maybe having an electric vehicle at some point, but we're not naming any names anymore.
Powered by ATI. ATI Rage graphics.
and then over the weekend, there was another story from Reuters saying, no, we're looking at 2024. We're looking at 2024 for this. And you've got analysts Katie Huberty hit with some interesting ideas last week. Daniel Ives is just a perpetual Apple proponent. And so what's interesting is he hit with a note over the weekend, or maybe it was the end of last week, saying he's only got 35 to 40% chance of Apple coming out with a car by 2024. He thinks they're going to partner with other people. There's just so much to take apart for the car. And when I said, do you want to drop the car story? He said, no, I want to talk about the car story. Tell me what it is that interests you about this story.
Hyundai seems like a smart fit. They're building really good quality vehicles. They've obviously, adapted Apple technology pretty quickly across their product line. Mm-hmm. They're very forward-thinking companies. It wouldn't surprise me at all to find out that Hyundai and Apple had partnered. Whether or not it would be an Apple car built by Hyundai, like an Apple-branded car built by Hyundai, or something else, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But that just vibes right to me for a few different reasons. It could be very interesting. We're at a really interesting time, in the automotive industry, where the companies that have been around for, 100 years or 50 years or whatever, are pivoting really hard to make fundamentally different vehicles than they've been making. Mm-hmm. And like it or lump it, and I am no fan of Elon Musk, but Tesla definitely moved the needle in that direction, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of other companies are, trying to pivot the same way, trying to do similar things, trying to think outside the box compared to how they've always done it. And it wouldn't surprise me at all to find out that Hyundai had partnered with Apple to do something really interesting, really innovative.
More on our Apple car trip in a moment, but first a word from Remote HQ, letting you collaborate as if you were in the same room. Work's not what it was a year ago. You can't walk over to somebody's desk and show them something. Let's say you want somebody to check out a website or try to visualize an idea. You can't put something in front of them and point to it. Actually, yes, you can with Remote HQ. Whiteboards, notes, surfing the web. Remote HQ gives you a browser-based place to collaborate, so you can make sure that they see what you're saying, not just say that they see it. All of this with no downloads, no installations. Meeting participants don't even have to sign up for anything. They just click the link you send and they're on it. Try it out with your team. Go to remotehq.co/minutes for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use the code MINUTES for 3 months free. Give Remote HQ a try. Go to remotehq.co/minutes for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use the code MINUTES for 3 months free. Now let's get back to our car talk with Peter Cohen. You know what's really weird to me about this whole shift is I don't remember, and maybe I'm just not old enough, but I don't remember a time where everybody was leaning into a technology that's not proven. I mean, electric vehicles are proven. Self-driving cars are not. You had to have iPhone before you had all the other phone companies making a phone like iPhone. You had to have iPad before you had all the other companies making a product like iPad. Self-driving cars are almost they are almost in the public consciousness now as an inevitability because everybody is leaning so hard that direction. We don't really have a viable one out yet.
I think it's interesting that we've had semi-autonomous capabilities in cars now for nigh on, a decade or more, right? And I mean, really, it depends on how far you want to go back. I mean, cruise control is something that's been around on cars forever.
Right.
But there's been this shift, this increasingly hard shift to full autonomy in vehicles, or semi-autonomy at the very least. And the problem is they're trying to take drivers out of the equation. Drivers who are careless, or drivers who are impaired, or drivers who are just not capable of, or not up to the task of driving. That's not how I like to drive. I want to be in situational control of the vehicle that I'm in at all times, right? But
Right.
that doesn't mean that I don't use lane control and the other functions that I've got in my vehicle when I'm on the highway. Where I'll just set a speed, and as long as I stay within the lines, I'm good, right? That's
Right.
that's the stuff that we all use, but you can see it. And it's just off in the distance. Now, Apple is never the first. They're never on the bleeding edge of this stuff, right? They weren't the first company out with a tablet. They weren't the first company out with a cell phone that had, a touch screen.
Right.
Where they are is at the right inflection point for them to do something really unique and really interesting. So whether that's in 2024, 2027 is irrelevant.
All right, a couple of things really quickly. First of all, hearkening back to what we were talking about yesterday, Werner Vinge in that same book, Rainbow's End, guy wanted to go someplace. He couldn't control his car. So he kept trying to go to this one place, and the car just wouldn't take him there because it had been put off limits by whatever. And I'm not saying, ooh, that's a thing that's going to happen, although certainly it's not beyond the pale. Here's the real question that I have. Is there a problem that Apple Car would solve that other car makers won't solve? I mean, is it enough for Apple to just show up and say, we're going to have a nicer car than everybody else? Or is there a thing that Apple is going to, if you pardon my use of the term, hit that other car makers aren't?
Well, could you have predicted what Apple was going to hit with the iPhone or with the iPad a year or two or three before its release?
I'm gonna sort of say yes a tiny bit. Not with iPad, no. With iPhone, the integration of all the different things that you relied on your computer for going into your pocket, yes. I could never have seen it happening the way it was going to happen. I could never see it looking as good as it was going to. I thought I absolutely 100% needed a QWERTY keyboard. My point, though, is once Apple showed it to you, it solved a bunch of problems that nothing else had to that point. If Tesla hits with an autonomous vehicle, if Chevy hits with an autonomous vehicle, if Ford hits with an autonomous vehicle, what's the problem that Apple's going to solve that the rest of them aren't? Or are they just going to solve whatever problems in a more refined way?
Exactly.
No, I'm asking.
No, exactly. I don't know. They could be bringing something really innovative to the table, or they could just be refining it in a way that hasn't been done before. Either way, it'll be innovative. Either way, that'll be Apple's sword to either fall on or to triumph with. But I guess time will tell.